under the topic areas of management, accounting, and finance, specialized courses, oil and gas, engineering, and health and safety. Right? Each topic area has its own topic manager who has overall responsibility for the public and bespoke courses within the topic area. Right? So topic manager supervise the activities of the course manager. For example, at the conclusion of each course, the course manager who was responsible for supervising it must compile a report for the topic manager that summarizes delegate feedback along with the costs and revenue. So this guy is actually keeping a kind of a supervisory role in order to control the performance of the courses as well as the financial performance of the course. So here, how are the topic managers evaluating the performance of their course manager? We have not been told. Maybe it would be mentioned in the next part. Course manager performance is based on the feedback by delegates, right? So this feedback is collected by a course manager. Is it effective appraisal? Yeah, collection might not be creating a conflict. Otherwise, it is generally considered that when you are being evaluated, you should actually yourself should not be a part of that activity, generally speaking. But here we got a structure which is such like this is the course manager who will have to directly collect those appraisal. So appraisal include financial and non-financial indicators. Can the course manager now do you know that we studied about the financial and the non-financial? So here your financial performance would actually be coming from the cost that has been incurred in the revenues earned from that course, and you also know that which are the major components of the cost, as well as you also know that the what are the major streams of the cash, the revenue for the company for the course, right? So every course in itself is a kind of a project, you could say that, because it would be having a specific starting point and end point. By the way, this is an interesting point which didn't came to my mind before, but now at this point I could say that you might be tested on the project management knowledge by giving the situation of a course, because you know that every course would be kind of a unique activity with the different like your every house, although a house is, all the houses are the houses, like, but every house is distinctive in its own nature, having its own design, its own budget, the own circumstances. So every house construction is a unique activity. Similarly, every course would be a unique activity, because in every course you would be having the different delegates. Could you please mute your mic? I don't know whose mic is probably Hassan Saab has joined us, right? So please keep your mic mute. So every course would be a unique activity with a definite starting point and a definite end point. So your course manager then be taken as a project leader or the project manager, and course could be taken as a project. So you might be tested on this project management knowledge by giving you a situation of a course. So you if you are familiar with the project management process and all that, so you would be easily okay. The one thing that you should keep in mind is that it is not that always that all the processes and all the segments of the project which you have learned in your book would be applicable in every situation. No, in certain situations uh, some processes or some parts might be completely not be there. So it doesn't mean that that is not a project, right? So the knowledge that you have studied is for a comprehensive, like a project which would be having almost every kind of activity. So here you might see you might have to apply the knowledge of project management in order to make this activity more effective. So then appraisal include financial. Okay,
Sir,
can
if
the
they have
course
appointed course topic managers for each topic, like specialized topic, then why these topic managers are not going to deliver the trainings?
No, they are not the trainers. Here they have just told that for every specialized area there is a topic manager. Here, where is that? Trainer offer a wide range of courses broadly grouped into this. Each topic area has its own topic manager who has overall responsibility. Why do you think that the topic manager should be delivering the course? What make you to
I'm
think it?
thinking that because they are already incurring a cost on topic manager, so he should also deliver the training. Why they are
Why?
engaging a separate trainer for this?
He is a manager. He is not a specialist area. He is not area specialist, subject specialist. Like if you want to deliver a course on a corporate finance, but your topic manager is an MBA in marketing, so how would you do it? You won't be able to do it. And this is actually, this is not the same. If we say it by your logic, then the course manager should also maybe deliver the course. So for the course delivery, the trainers, like in college, university, you must have seen that the management is different. Even sometimes they are more educated, more qualified, but your faculty is a different segment. So the same segregation is here, right? So topic manager, I believe this would be completely inefficient and ineffective if he would be delivering the courses, right? So we should not be like, if unless you got a really very strong argument and a situation is that they don't have any other, and the topic manager is kind of have an experience, so that a very special, very rare situation. So otherwise, in general situation, the management and the faculty are kept separate in all educational institutions, all training institutions. So the topic manager supervises the activities of course. Okay, I told you this. Can the course manager control the revenue and cost, right? So you know that we actually the performance of the course manager is depending on the feedback of the delegate as well as the revenue and the cost. So we will have to see that whether the course manager has a control over the cost. Yes, to certain extent he would be having, but normally those cost elements are kind of predetermined. The hotel rates that you have agreed with the hotels at a corporation level or your company level, then the traveling again would be having a specific cost attached to it. Then
Maybe in new negotiations, maybe they are hiring a
if
new
they,
hotel so he can.
yeah, at that point in time he might be playing his role, right? So otherwise in the short term he cannot control that a cost actually. So does all the cost elements are controlled by course manager? Mm, this was the question, like if we talk about the cost being incurred on the remuneration of these trainers. Yes, we have been told that the trainers are primarily recruited by the course manager, but does the remuneration is also agreed by the course manager, or then the HR team comes in action and they do this part of the recruitment? So that would also have to be seen again when you entered into an agreement with a trainer and where you have agreed with him that we would be paying you this much for the course whenever you would be conducting the course. Then that becomes kind of what we call that kind of a fixed cost for in the short term, right? So
Plus, sir, if the course manager is negotiating all the cost, hotel, accommodation, booking everything, risk involved as well. Like he is the whole and sole controller of cost in that sense. So एक fraudulent एक्टिविटी या उस तरह के होने का भी एक रिस्क इधर मौजूद है बिकॉज अभी तक हमने जितना पढ़ा उसमें यही है कि जी कोर्स मैनेजर ही सारी चीजों को डील कर रहा है वही बातचीत कर रहा है वही बुकिंग्स भी करा रहा है वही ट्रेनर्स
but
को भी हायर कर रहा है.
yes, this is correct, but you know that we got a finance department, we got an admin HR department. Finance might be checking the invoices and all that, so there is a structure there. yes, you are right. Whenever there is a convergence of the diverse activity at one position, there is always a risk of the self-interest be promoted instead of the company interest in some activities. But like if this would again be depending on the situation. Under the current situation, we have not been told that whether he is taking care of those financial parts of all these activities as well, or those are being controlled by some committee or some the finance department or some the director in your company. So this would be assumption that if he is hiring the hotel and he is paying the hotel, then that there is a chance that he might then that concept of segregation of duty, you will have to do it then. So the topic manager must also approve the appointment of any new trainer before they can. Now you could see that this is not the sole decision of course manager. He would be suggesting and or recommending, then decision would lie with the topic manager. He might have some the criteria on the basis of which he would be evaluating the trainer before getting them on their list of approved trainers. So of course, this is something which would be done only the first time when you are hiring a trainer. The later on, when you would be engaging that trainer, then you don't need to get the approval of the topic manager. So here again, as you told that course manager, it's course manager's discretion. But we have been told that whosoever would be given the repeat course, it would primarily be dependent on their performance and the feedback of the delegates about their performance on the course. Now, a topic manager, then he got like the course manager. There are 5 topic managers, one of each topic area of management, accounting and finance, specialized courses, oil and gas engineering, health and safety. Topic managers supervise the course managers who specialize in their respective areas, right? They are also responsible for managing the quality in their topic areas. Now, quality management, you have seen that at a lot of places I was talking about the quality management. So here the quality is basically, as we have studied, that the quality is uh, meeting the requirement in the given time within the given budget, meeting the meet the required standard, right? So here there is the standard would be agreed by the course manager with the client, and then in accordance to those measures, that course performance would be evaluated. So there are 30 course managers and 5 topic managers. So uh, under each core topic manager, there are 6 course managers. This could be seen from here as well. So there are 30 course managers, each specializing in a particular topic area. Course managers have a broad range of responsibilities for each course that they manage. Scheduling courses, selling places on public courses to delegates, employers, and agreeing contract for private courses. Now, you know that here basically the course manager is collecting all that information, but actually the agreements are being concluded by the topic manager. So now the schedule is being prepared by the topic manager for the courses, right? So then engaging the trainers and making practical arrangement for flights and accommodation. So this is again his responsibility. Trainer to engage the trainer. So probably the course manager recruit the trainers, give his suggestion or recommendation for the recruitment, which is finalized by the topic manager. Now the topic manager would be actually engaging the trainer. There's a conflict, you could see it. Like the performance of the course manager is being evaluated on the basis of the performance of the course, which is partially depending on the trainer, whereas he doesn't have the control to select the trainer. The trainer is being selected by the topic manager, you know. So there is a, that responsibility center concept, responsibility. So here, if you are only responsible for the actions which you are controlling. If the delegates are giving a poor feedback about the trainer, so he would that would not be the responsibility of then the course manager, because that trainer has been engaged by um, the topic manager. So interacting with the delegates during the courses and working to ensure their satisfaction, collecting delegates feedback at the conclusion of course, and no, these are all the responsibilities of the basically the course manager. I'm really very sorry. So this is all the responsibility of course manager. You also have not pointed out. I read it probably topics manager.
I
But this
was
is
also confused that you are referring this to topic manager, but
exactly.
they have
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
defined 2, 3 responsibilities for the topic manager, and rest of the responsibilities are all like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
of
he is
the course.
responsible. Now, the point is that now because he is controlling all these elements, so he is responsible for it, for the performance responsibility concept. You know that you would be responsible only for the factors which you could control. So here you have been given the authority to control all these elements. So courseman being the course manager, you would be responsible for it as well. So performance indicators for both the topic and course managers. What are the performances? These have been given. Job description would be the prime parameter to measure their performance. So whatever the job description, like here we have been given the job description of the course manager in detail, but the topic manager's responsibilities are briefly discussed here. So now courses, there were various type of courses, wide range of courses, advantages and advantages of having such a wide range. You know that some companies are specialized in certain courses. They don't like spread their like the nature of the course is too much. Here it is looking that we got a diverse range of courses which include the business courses, technical courses, but IT courses, I believe we cannot see IT courses here, digital technology. So that might be one consideration, but that's not something which is too complicated and which might, this is not something which would be asked in here, like the cybersecurity courses, which is related to the digital. So here you would see that the focus is primarily on the training of the executives only. So all these courses are basically for the management guys, the executives. So these are not the very complicated courses. Then health and safety. Okay, so some of these courses are very popular and run several times a year. For example, accounting for directors and managing risk both run 4 times a year. No, not all of the courses are generating the same amount of business. Course manager of such courses gets some benefit for additional work, or more human resources are allocated to, that because now for every area there would be a course manager. So that we have been told that some courses are being repeated more frequently than the others. So there could be then an imbalance between the responsibilities of the course managers as well. You might be responsible for the area for which the course trainings are so frequent, whereas the other colleague is for responsible for the area which is probably not being taught so frequently. I'm sorry, we have not recorded it, or we are recording it. Let me see. Okay, we are recording. Okay. Okay, so again, bespoke courses can be based on public courses. Okay, can one of you can read it? Mohit, could you read the first paragraph?
Yes, sir. Bespoke courses can be based on public courses or they can be designed to the client specific needs. For example, the directors of a major hospital recently requested a course on the recruitment and training of junior nurses.
Hmm.
A 4-day course that covered the client's requirements.
Okay. One of the trainer's course managers identified a trainer with a considerable experience in that area and organized a 4-day course that covered the client's requirement. Now, from this paragraph, you could see that the requirement of your clients is not always standardized. Uh, they might be asking for the customized courses. That's why the bespoke courses we do have, and we have been told that sometimes your bespoke courses might be drawn from the public courses, like making them specific for some specific client in accordance to their specific requirements, and other times you might have to develop altogether a new customized course. So please, second paragraph, might.
Yeah, there are 30 course managers, each of whom is in one of the 5 topic areas. Although there is a constant need for them to be flexible, if there are 3 courses running simultaneously in a particular venue, then it is more cost effective to send just one course manager to supervise them all, even if they are spread across unrelated. It may also be cheaper to have the same course manager stay at a particular hotel for 3 weeks in
Mhm.
order to oversee a succession of different courses, rather than incur the cost of airfares to change between course managers. That can mean that a course manager who specializes in, say, accounting and finance must also supervise courses from different topics.
Okay, now you know that this paragraph would be telling us about the factors which could create a behavioral impacts on the course manager. You know that behavioral aspects of the performance. So if you are keeping a course manager away from their home for a longer time, it would obviously be creating a kind of uh, um, uh, uh, kind of a stress for them, right? So then you would
But it is
be.
also a cost control strategy for them as well.
Exactly, but there is a positive, then there is a downside as well. Now you
Easy.
would be
Yes.
responsible for the performance of the courses for which you have never been like involved in the selection of the trainer, but you would be then held responsible for certain things which you actually cannot control because of the company policy to give the preference to the cost saving over the performance of the courses actually. So this shows that the cost saving is an overwhelming kind of purpose or objective of the company, and this might also be giving an indication that because of the competition there in the market, they would keep their cost low, because in order to provide the competitive prices to your customers, clients, you will have to obviously keep your cost control. Now, saving cost by compromising on the specialized skill of the course manager, right? Locating a trainer for new bespoke course is also the responsibility of a course manager. Now, bespoke courses are specialized, hence must be having the requirement of specialized skill to oversee its progress, right? Although that the course manager would, when he would be sitting there in the course in order to observe the performance of that trainer, he would primarily be looking at his, those skills which are not related to the subject, like his communication skill, his presentation skill, etc. The skills to engage the people. But at the same time, if you would not be having a knowledge of the course, not like a specialized knowledge, so specialized knowledge, but the general knowledge even, then it might be a challenge for him to evaluate the performance. So course managers have to compromise on work condition in order to save courses, right? Cost for the company, right? So now, trainers management structure. There had been a question by the um, uh, by Hassan, which I have responded, and probably you have got it. So, we have talked about this, like here is a chief executive and executive chair. Probably these guys both are reporting to both of them, right? So primarily they would be responsible, they would be reporting to the chief executive, right? Here this structure is creating a kind of a confusion, like it looks like the director, all these directors are reporting to both of them. So having a confusion in the reporting channel could also be a performance impediment. Simple management structure: chief executive and executive chairs are held by different person. Functional directors are not member of board of director. There could be confusion on reporting, as functional directors are reporting to both the chair and executive chief executive. Finance and HR are cost center, whereas marketing is a revenue center. Lean management structure means the decision can be taken quickly. Now, you know that you would be using this information in your answers. If you would see a question, these facts can be quoted there in order to support your arguments. So what are the basis of allocation of overheads of the cost center to the courses? But we have talked about it, that how, because these you are offering a range of the courses, so overheads would have to be, although the overheads might not be too much, because in its P&L you will see that most of its cost is a direct cost, variable cost. So but still there are certain overheads, and those would have to be allocated to the courses, and there could be then a criteria, and probably on the basis of the number of days of the courses, the
अरे
resources
हसन
being
साहब
consumed.
का एग्जैक्ट सवाल था क्या, वो मेरा ख्याल है पहले उन्होंने शायद कोर्सेज कुछ और बताए हुए, डिपार्टमेंट्स कुछ और बताए हुए, यहाँ पे शायद थोड़े से डिफरेंट आ रहे हैं, यही था।
जी था. That was not about the department. Basically, what they have told initially was about the trade. Like these are the areas. Then these areas then could are put under the three departments, right? These
ओके
directors, each director, that uh, these, like they have told us, account, finance, and administration, courseman in marketing, global course, something like where is that? I think that information
शुरू की
is
स्लाइड में था।
okay. शुरू में था, तो वो था basically. तो that I told him that there is a, like they have told about the areas here, and then the segregation of the department is not the, like that is not actually the departments. The if you would read it as areas, specialized areas, then it's okay, then you would not be confused. But if you would be reading it as a department, then you would get confused. So you should read it as that those were the different, because they wrote like admin and finance. It doesn't mean that admin and finance is
जी जी
one
बिल्कुल,
department, right?
इसमें तो एडमिन आ रहा है एचआर के, हाँ के नीचे एचआर एंड एडमिन स्टाफ।
ठीक है. So this was his question actually. Hassan was right, because the way they have presented it or written it there, it was looking as if that is those are the departments, right? So
So
now the
those are
next,
basically areas, these are the departments.
these are the departments.
Okay.
Segregation under three directors, right? Three departments. Trainer management structure. Trainer board comprises only executive directors, right? Board comprises only executive directors. That is a common practice for unquoted companies. So these directors, that those I'm sorry if I have written here, functional directors are not these are the executive directors. These are part of the board of directors. So this is not correct. This statement is not. Probably I wanted to write here functional director are member of the. So not is a by a typo error, like it's a, because they have told us trainers board comprises only executive director. Non-executive director is not there. Non-executive director, that somebody outside from the organization, right?
Outside.
Uh, so that is a common practice for unquoted companies. Asif and Miriam Nasser share responsibility for the
They
overall
said,
strategy.
they said that channel board comprises only executive directors, but if we like look into the ownership of the company and we take the director as owners, then only the chair and the chief executive, they are the directors.
No, you know that
Executive director.
for like the board of director, most of the time, even in the listed company, you would see that the executive directors would be part of the board of director. Then they would be a non-executive director. So
Yes, it
here,
is for the quoted companies, but for the unquoted companies, it is normal that the owners are the directors only. Like if you see in SECB that you are in a regulatory framework, then
Mhm.
director means like the owner of the like having some shareholding.
No, you are talking
But
about a different director now.
the other time the directors like in our government and bureaucratic structure here, director means director has a separate meaning.
No. You are talking about the company directors who hold the shares in company. That is a different thing. A board of director, you could have your executive directors. For that, and to become a board member, you don't need to have the shares in that company, even for unquoted company. This is not absolutely not a requirement. In the the companies, the big companies which are not listed with the stock exchange, in their board of director, their executive director would be the members of the board of director many a times, right? So they have
But
just told it.
they might not be but they might not be directors of the company, rather the shareholders of the company.
What? Sorry.
The executive director may not be the shareholders of the company.
Yes, there is no information about it, so we don't know that they do have the shareholding or not, but they are the board of member of the BOD, right? Okay,
This
so
executive director means
Here
these
about
three
the
functions like the functional HR director, admin and finance director, and the marketing director.
exactly those the one who are holding the executive positions. These are the executive positions, right? Should we go ahead, move
sir,
on?
there
Ji.
was yes, there one thing in my mind. Uh, maybe in exam scenario we are given anything
Mhm.
of that sort. It just maybe the company should have a non-executive director as well, just for good corporate governance,
They could have,
practices.
they could have it, but you are not going to
They
see a
can
whole
have
question on
somebody,
it.
or maybe
Uh,
maybe in some of our answer we can put this thing. Maybe they asked how can the company improve their good governance. Maybe so we can include they can have a non-executive director, experienced person from the industry who can guide the company, improve vision and all that.
mhm. No, that's okay. Like for the good governance, they might have a non-executive director on their board. So I don't know if how they would be asking a whole question on it, because I don't think this is such a extensive thing like you might have to like then write too much on it. But we could see it if
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just a point that came into my mind. Maybe we can include it some.
That's absolutely fine. But I'm saying that it is such a short, like a kind of a thing, or they might give you a situation where one point could be this, like in order to improve the governance in the company, we might, have a non-executive director in the board. But at the same time, they qualifies this is common practice for unquoted companies. So yes, for the performance
Yes,
improvement, you could have it. This is
yes.
this statement tells that this is not so unusual what they are doing. This is
Yeah,
normal
they are
practice in
doing
this
all
business.
the rules and regulations, but just to improve
Exactly,
the vision of the company, they can have that.
exactly. So um the second paragraph, Asif and Miriam Nasir share responsibility for the overall strategic direction of the company. Asif chairs board meetings and deals with the key external stakeholders, including lenders and shareholder. Miriam focuses more on oversight of the ongoing operation. So she is like a kind of, um, I would say that she is kind of more playing the role of a chief executive, right? So who is the chief executive here? Miriam. Yes, she is the chief executive, and the other one is looking after the kind of the functions which normally the board would be performing, right? So Asif and Miriam each own 10% of Trayyner. So 80% is being owned by other shareholders. The remainder of the shares are owned by individuals who were invited to invest to assist with the company's expansion. As you know that while we are talking about the expansion, we have learned that while you would be raising the finances, there were various ways to finance your expansion. One was to give the shareholding equity, those venture capitalists and business angels kind of concept, where you would be extending the shareholding to the person who would then be providing the financing to you, individuals, right? The trainer group, okay. Segregation of assignments between executive chair and executive officers are clear. Both own 20% of the share of the company. Rest is owned by the other shares. We shareholders. We have not been given any information about those shareholders. What is the distribution of the shareholding between the shareholders? You know that 80%. If those that 80% is held by 4 shareholder or 1 shareholder or 100 shareholders, or Asif and Mariam, the largest shareholder. The point was like that it looks from the given information that the other shareholders individually they don't have the shareholding equal to the 20% which is being held by Miriam and Asif. That's why they are still running the company. Otherwise, if there would have been some other individual shareholder holding this much shareholding, they might have taken the management from them. The trainer group comprises a parent company based in Northland and 300% overseas subsidiaries: Trainer, Southland, Eastland, and Westland. Each of the subsidiary is a sales office. All courses are organized by course managers from the trainer's head office. So those offices are just the sales offices. You are feeding them with the information, and they might be collecting information themselves as well, and they are actually selling your courses. Then those courses are, so they are making the commitments, and those commitments are being, they are bringing the commitments actually to your business commitments to your company, and then you would be fulfilling those commitments by delivering the courses. Again, here there would be a concept of transfer pricing, because this is a service industry, so both the parent and the subsidiary are extending services to each other. How those services are being priced could become a point of discussion in your exam. Now, Trainner's business model. Value has been defined broadly. It states that the training content should be relevant and course should be engaging, right? Now, the defining value here, again, we have seen from the details that the value is not just limited to the content and the this part of the course. That value actually includes from the other factors as well. So probably we need to explain that in more detail here in your business model, so everybody should be very clear that what actually is constituting the value for the delegates, for the clients. You remember those all ambience, and you know that their excursion or the layer is also one important part of that value creation activity. Then engaging, yes, it covers the social engagements as well. So yes, you might say that this has been covered. But this is about the course should be engaging. So yeah, engaging covers that aspect. So creating value, trainer create value through ensuring that it understands the training and status needs of the delegates who participate in its courses. So value creation includes not only meeting the training requirement but also the status requirement of status requirement include the air service, hotel facilities, and the layer, the hotel. If you are conducting a course, the hotel should be in accordance to the status of the delegates. So, like if the delegates are the top management guys. So you can't go for a 2-star or 3-star hotel. Then you might have to then engage with the 5-star hotel. Delivering value doesn't include the service beyond technical training requirement of the course. Expectation of the delegates are not limited to the technical and professional requirement of the course, right? So they define then delivering the value. Trainer deliver value by working with a professional whose skill and background enable them to meet delegate expectation. Recapturing how the value is being delivered among the business partners. No information has been given. Like here, a brief information basically has been given. Trainer works with the trainers and training venues to manage cost while charging client a realistic fee for high quality service being provided. Then the value would be delivered with the trainer, with the hotel, with the all the ecosystem partners, the trainers, hotels, airlines would also be indirectly would be taking their share of fares from the delegates. Then the owners would also be taking a share out of the value which would be created. Then okay, define value. Interaction with the potential client to understand their training requirement, relevant content which could achieve intended objectives. Like when you would be defining the value, you would have to consider these aspects, right? These aspects would tell you that how you would be able to define the value more effective. Ambience of the hotel facility, the training venue, satisfaction of the trainer, then creating, hiring a well-reputed, or you will implement that model. This is now telling us a little bit in more detail. Motivated course managers, ensuring the training material meets requirement of course, assistance in travel and accommodation arrangement if required by the delegate, facilitating social interaction during the course, then delivering a coordination with the hotel to arrange fully equipped training rooms, delivery of the training by trainers, taking feedback from the delegates, taking feedback from the trainers. Taking feedback from the trainer is also so important, right? So they might also tell you that what was being what they have learned from their interaction with the delegates. So because those the course schedule and all that, those have been prepared, and the kind of the level the course that you need to deliver with the delegates would be decided by the course manager and the topic manager. So after the interaction with the delegates, the trainer could also give the feedback. Monitoring the social and leisure activities, then capturing effective agreement with the hotels, and eliminating the non-value activities, sharing fair share of revenues with the course managers, trainers, and the other employees, getting competitive course prices from the clients. How a trainer can survive digital disruption. Internet of me, I am not going to explain it. Adopting emerging platforms. The digital platforms are flexible and cheaper to run. Developing training apps and e-learning. That then you could make your points from this information according to the given situation. Intelligent enterprise. Trainer should collect data about its clients from various sources and utilize it smartly. Work force reimagined. These are the kind of the activities that the trainer would have to be involved in order to survive the digital disruption. That we have studied this topic, surviving digital disruptions. Inspirational leadership, competitive edge. Now you will relate it these things. You will relate these things if you see uh, the question on it. You could relate it, like even if you would write it just explaining or writing somewhere, the trainer and management using the name of trainer, this would be okay. Encourage employees to think out of the box. So you could write that the trainer would be encouraging the employees to think out of the box in order to get the competitive advantage. Establishing strategic direction, planning horizon to decrease. Like they are currently their planning might be for a longer period, but in order to cope up with the digital disruption, your planning horizon will have to be reduced because the things are changing so quickly. and your long-term plan actually doesn't work. Then influence external parties, then strategy to build the disruptive business model: buy, partner, invest, incubate. If you don't remember, go back and read it, the details. Or because I have taught you about these strategies, right, in your performance, managing performance uh, book, right, subject. Trainer business model. Hassan Saab, could you please read it for me, the first paragraph?
Trainer focuses on developing courses that are relevant to client needs. For example, it offers several courses that are aimed at delegates who have recently gained new responsibilities as new non-executive directors. For example, a course on audit committee has been extremely popular with non-executive directors who do not have an accounting background. The need of such courses only became apparent because of conversations between course managers and delegates during breaks and lunches on unrelated courses. Delegates also have high expectations with regard to ambience of courses. They appreciate the fact that public courses offer the opportunity to
Hmm.
network with senior managers from other companies. All courses, they enjoy the opportunity to travel and to work in a pleasant surroundings. Trainers always organize at least one social event, such as dinner for delegates, to enhance their ambience.
Okay. So you know that these are in these two paragraphs, they are telling us basically about the value drivers. So meeting customer needs is a prerequisite. This is a critical success factor. Ambience of the courses, networking opportunities, travel, social events. Cost can be traced back to these value drivers, and a cost and a benefit analysis could be carried out in order to see that which of these the value drivers are incurring how much cost of the company. Trainer business model. Trainer pays close attention to feedback from the delegate on its trainers. New trainers are monitored closely by course manager, but even experienced trainers are supervised. Again, the same thing is being told here that you have already studied. Any whose evaluations are deteriorating are unlikely to be invited back. So this is information which has already been given in the previous section as well. Course managers are expected to control cost carefully. Now you know that here it is being told that the course manager actually would be responsible to control the cost as well. So we'll see that how would be controlling the cost. We'll have to see, and you know that there are certain assignments that have been given to the course manager, and those activities we'll have to see that what extent that they could control the those activities in order to save the cost. We discussed about the hotel hiring and etc. The trainers remuneration. Hassan Saab, could you please mute your mic? The company always does uses good quality hotels, but it negotiates substantial discounts in return for offering repeat business. That volume, the business to the volume of the business would be fetching you the discounts. Trainers are offered generous daily rates for a day spent training, but no payment is made for traveling time and for preparing course material. So again, your concern, it has been being mentioned here. Even if the course is cancelled at the last minute after the course has been written, so trainer is not going to get anything for all of his hard work in order to prepare that material. Trainer insists on being paid in advance by all client, thereby eliminating the cost of uncollectible receivables, right? So
This
traveling
is the
time is
problem actually mentioned in the blog that one of the trainers is complaining that they have cancelled my course and
exactly.
all the
We
process.
will see that. Traveling time is significant portion of the total time spent. Trainers are not paid for them. Or the course material copyrighted? No, it looks like not copyrighted. Who gets the copyright for the training material? Probably individuals also does not get the copyright. If the courses are cancelled at the last minute, how to manage to justify not paying the trainer for their hard work they invested in developing the courses material? Yeah, we'll have to see that for how many times the people will have to face such a situation, which is as Hassan has mentioned, is quite evident from the blog that there are certain trainers who have this complaint. Then the less receivables mean trainer maintaining a good current ratio. So liquidity is not a problem for the company because they are doing the business on not on credit. So they must be getting uh, the cash from the clients. So the company would be having a good liquidity. Costing information, you know that here the revenue is coming from the delegate fees, and then commission to overseas one major portion. How it is determined, this is now again a kind of a transfer pricing between now this is the transfer pricing purely between the parent and the subsidiary, right? So the commission is the source of revenue for the overseas offices. So cost of the training room, again, and lunch, etc. Trainers fee, one of the major course cost associated with the course, and then airfares for the trainer and the course manager. So kind of uh, 10% training goes to the training fee, 10% goes to the hotel, right? So 20% is gone there. But we could see that the profit margins are quite hefty here, and then we have also learned that the course manager is the one who is being paid. Uh, he is the one who is getting the uh, the smallest portion of the whole value which is being created in this whole system. Now, this is the allocation of the head office cost. So somebody was asking me about how it would be determined. Now you could see that it is not a really that small part of the total cost. If you would look at the individual items, so it is a kind of a good percentage of compared to the other cost elements, right? So the trainer fee and cost of training rooms are the most expensive inputs. Accommodation of trainers, a course manager is paid comparatively very low through, though play a pivotal role in success of course. What are the basis of charging head office cost to the course? We don't know the basis, so that might be given in your exam, that that they might give an unseen situation and a situation where they have discussed that the way we are charging the overhead heads to the courses, that is on a traditional absorption costing basis. So now we need to move to the activity based costing for our internal reports. So then you might have to write invoke all those concepts related to the activity based costing, and then you might have to write it, that how you could link this overhead cost with the courses, with various activities of the course. Costing item and their nature. 80% of the cost is variable, only 13% cost is of fixed nature. Um, Activity based costing, as the overhead cost is very small portion of the total cost, therefore ABC might not so useful. Yes, but uh, if you look at the cost, this cost element compared to the other cost element, then it is not that small. But if you look at the cost element compared to the total revenue, it is a very small portion. Then, however, overhead costs must be attributed to the courses on the basis of the resources they consume, right? Charging overhead on the basis of the number of course would not be a fair basis for the overhead allocation, right? Number of courses. More the courses a course manager, this is manager, will supervise, less the cost per course will be allocated.
So,
More the
sir, what do you
courses.
mean to,
Sorry, yes, please.
sir, ये AB related, the point that you are trying to make here is कि rather than assigning overheads to each course, find out कि कौन सा course जो है वो ज़्यादा number of days ले रहा है, and then we should assign overhead cost to मिलनी चाहिए.
नहीं, इसमें बताया कि charging overhead on the basis of a number of courses would not be a fair. I think this information must be given somewhere. Must not be fair basis for overhead allocation. I don't know. It must have been given somewhere because this is the fact I am telling.
Okay.
So maybe in a next slide you would see it. So the number of course. Uh, Dividing the overhead cost. If there are 100 courses and there is $1,000 overhead cost, you just divide those $1,000 on 100 courses and attribute the each course the cost. So I am saying that this would not be a justified or not a correct way to allocate the overhead cost. My point, as I
This
told
is
you,
what I'm
that
saying as well, sir.
yeah, on the number of days, it should be on the basis of the resources actually it
कि अगर
consumes.
कोई कोर्स लेट्स से अकाउंटिंग एंड फाइनेंस का अकाउंटिंग एंड फाइनेंस फॉर द नॉन फाइनेंस मैनेजर्स का कोर्स है और इट्स टेकिंग द मोस्ट नंबर ऑफ डेज, तो उसको ज्यादा ओवरहेड कॉस्ट लगनी चाहिए.
ऐसे ही है. ओके जी. Each course is the responsibility of an individual course manager. Course fees are based on a set price of $3,000 per delegate on public courses and 45,000 per bespoke course. These set prices are established and updated by the board. The board is actually deciding on the prices, so your revenue part is not in the control of the course manager. Course manager have a limited discretion to discount those fees in order to sell places on public courses or reach agreement on bespoke courses. So he has not been given so much power as far as the pricing is concerned. Entertaining costs are incurred because trainer organizations organize social activities for delegates in the evening. These include providing tickets for sporting or culture events and a dinner on the last evening before the end of the course. The charge for the course manager is based on a daily rate that reflects the average course manager's annual salary, right? That for whatever his annual salary, you would be dividing it on the annual days, number of days, working days, and then allocating the cost directly to the course on the basis of the days spent by the course manager there on the location. This charge can vary depending on the number of courses being supervised simultaneously. Obviously, if more courses are being supervised at the same place, then the cost allocated to each course would reduce. The amount of the cost allocated to each course would reduce. Course managers are expected to supervise up to 3 courses at any one time, but there may only be 1 or 2 courses running at one time in a particular location. So revenue structure is different for public and bespoke courses. Uh, Course managers are limited has limited discretion. Public course generate revenue on the basis of number of delegates, whereas for bespoke it is number of delegates have nothing to do with the revenue. If there are minimum number of delegates required for no information has been given. Whereas bespoke courses are charged lump sum irrespective of the participant numbers. Course related to this is just to understand the cost. This all information is helpful to apply ABC. Course manager pay is determined on the basis of standard daily rate. However, number of courses will determine actual pay of course manager. Costing information. So, Mohit, please read these two paragraphs.
Okay. So head office costs are based on the running cost of staffing and operating the head office in capital city, including topic manager salaries. The total cost is apportioned based on expected annual cost divided by the estimated number of courses.
No, this is a standard costing. If you know the standard concept of standard costing, it is you would be like having a budget, and then you would be uh, defining the underlying rules, and then standard costing is like then because that you don't know the actual cost for the whole I mean for a period when you are going through that period. So what you would do is that budget would be your become your basis for costing. So overhead cost is allocated on the courses after dividing total overhead cost with the total number of expected courses. Now this is the information I was telling, like they uh, that I have mentioned there. Head office costs are based on running this. The total cost is a portion based on the expected annual cost divided by the estimated number of courses. You got my point? This was the thing I
Ji,
have
sir.
written over there. So I was saying that this is not a fair way. It doesn't take into account the number of days each course is conducted. Okay.
Got it, got it.
Okay. Then the second paragraph, please.
Okay, so course managers are responsible for making all arrangements in a trainer courses. They usually have discretion over budgeted cost and revenues, but are expected to notify their topic managers in advance if the expected surplus from a course is less than $10,000. Delegates' fees are the main concern. With some courses being less popular than others, trainer will sometimes run a public course at close to break even, or even at a small loss if the delegates who have signed up for it are from an important client. Costs can also be affected by seasonal variations in the cost of airfares and hotel rates.
Hmm. So you know that because you are removing your staff there, so obviously the and the you if you are providing the accommodation to the delegates, then obviously that would also be part of. But you know the from the cost perspective, we know that the delegates would be having their own arrangement of with the hotel, and they would be paying the hotel for their accommodation, but you would be responsible for the accommodation of your staff there at the venue, as well as uh, the premises that would be used for the training. So cost is primarily managed by the course manager. Pricing strategy not based on the cost of course, but on the basis of the market, which is a good thing. Market strategic and demand factor. Cost is not completely in control of the trainer, as it is include components such as air, travel, hotel accommodation, which are beyond the control of trainer. Right. So for that, there would be certain segments of your cost which would be seasonal. So you might use the concept of then the revenue management. That is like you might be charging higher um, fees for a certain time period of the year, and then might be giving the discounts in the other parts of the year, right? Okay, again, Hassan Saab, please, if you could read these three paragraphs.
Course managers submit a statement of cost and revenues to the relevant topic manager at the conclusion of each course. Course manager performance is evaluated in part on surplus from the course. There is also a non-financial aspect to the evaluation of each course. At the end of each course, the course manager asks each delegate to complete a short questionnaire which asks them to rate each aspect of course using a 5-point scale, where 1 is extremely dissatisfied, and 5 is extremely satisfied. Aspects include the administration of the course content, and the trainer's presentation skills. The course manager collates the responses and discusses the results with the trainer. The course manager then prepares a report drawing upon delegate feedback, the manager's personal observation of the course, and the trainer's responses. The reports and the delegates' questionnaires are submitted to the relevant topic manager upon the course manager's return to head office. When a course manager organizes a course but is unable to supervise it personally, then the colleagues who undertakes the supervision is responsible for collecting, reporting back On delegate feedback, the course manager who organized the course must review that report and comment on it, as well as preparing the statements, costs, and revenues.
Revenue. Okay. So here again, we have been told that that how the performance is evaluated, and performance is basically consisting on the financial and non-financial parameters. We have been told that the performance is a kind of evaluated on the subjective parameters, and the points are allocated to the various indicators, on the basis of which then you would be evaluating the performance, right? So performance of the course manager is evaluated on both financial and non-financial. Overall performance of the course depend on the performance of the trainer, content of the training course, and administration of the course. So which is kind of beyond the control of the course manager. Report include feedback of delegates, course managers' observation, and trainers' feedback. Again, there are certain aspects which are beyond the control of the course manager. So this needs to be addressed, that how you could make the course manager responsible when he cannot control the performance of trainer. Yes, he has given the recommendation for that trainer, but that was approved by the topic manager. And as far as the financial side is concerned, yes, we have been told that partially your course manager could be responsible for enhancing the revenue, because he has been given the unlimited authority to give the discounts which could help you to increase the revenues. But most part of the revenue is kind of beyond the control of the pricing thing is most control out of the control of the course manager. But yes, they
But apart from the pricing, he has the responsibility of marketing the course, marketing and sales.
Because these course managers are actually they are also like establishing contact, and they're doing the marketing activity. They have given us the information, they would be establishing contact with the delegates, they will be getting the information from them, and then sending them the email about what are their course requirement, new requirement. So they are responsible, but then the sales overseas sales offices would also be contributing to the revenue. So for the revenue they are not fully responsible, but for the cost, again they would not be fully responsible, because for the hotels you would be having agreements, and then obviously the cost would also be dependent on the seasonality as well. So you might see a question where it has been told that the cost was too much during, but at the same time you might have given the information that this is the peak season. So then you would not be making the course manager responsible. You would see that because the price is out, not in the control of the course manager, but and the cost is also kind of higher, and that is beyond the control of the course manager, because it is high because of the seasonality factor. So the performance thing, I'm trying to tell you that those behavioral aspects of the performance. So those you could have a look at those chapter quickly, like for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to see some other points as well. So you might come up with more relevant points. But that's again something not really very complicated, but yes, so relevant. Then now performance appraisal of course manager on the basis of information obtained from Preseen, assigned KPI to each performance measure. So what could be the KPIs for balanced scorecard approach, like for a executive training company? Increase the revenue, increase profitability, reduce sales overhead, cost, improve customer satisfaction, improve overall sale, improve brand image. These are generic things, but we have segregated them in a balanced scorecard up with the balanced scorecard approach. So a balanced scorecard would be then segregating them in four major areas: financial, customer, internal process, improve marketing process and knowledge distribution, improve external communication, then learning and growth, improve knowledge base, improve staff skills, reduce the energy consumption. That energy consumption, hotels are one of the major source of the pollution, because uh, uh, many a times the hotels are, if are not in a city area, Those are on the areas which are normally which have the natural resources. So when you would be establishing a or constructing a hotel there, you would maybe doing the deforesting and all that, and then that hotels use a lot of energy to run their those cooling plants and to keep their hotels running. If it is like in an environment where you need air conditioning, then it is even more. It will become a even a more. It would be having more emitting the more pollution. This you have already done in your question, so we will see that how we could segregate various activities in the value chain analysis. Like here, you have done the question on it, right? On the value chain analysis of Trayyner in your assignment. Have you did that? Yes. Right. Your first assignment was having one question on value chain analysis. So from here
Yes.
you could understand. So before writing the answer, have you read this presentation?
No.
No. Good. You are honest people. You guys are really so honest. So it includes the activities that involve receiving, storing, and handling inputs. In case of Trayyner, it includes process of hiring trainers, preparation of course material, agreement with the hotel, arrangement with the airlines. All are the inbound logistics operation. These activities involve converting the outputs into the inputs into the output. For Trayyner, it involves scheduling course, inviting the delegates, and providing the guidance, making travel arrangement for the course manager and the trainers, as well as ensuring the delegates that delegates, trainer, and the course manager have reached at the training venue in time. It also involves getting the training room for the hotel ready. Outward logistic involve delivering the course of the delegates, that ensuring their stay at hotel is comfortable, and implement the plan of the social activities for the delegates. Marketing and sale activities, you could read it. This is simple. It involves the activities to persuade the customer. You know that we have already read about these things. Service, this include after sale service to the client. In case of Trainer, it could be take feedback from the delegates and incorporate their suggestion in upcoming course. Could you please turn off your mic? So, Saab, please make it a practice. Like when you are not speaking, keep your mic off. Or devise new courses in accordance to the requirement of the delegates. Then procurement, technology. I don't think I do. I need to read these for you, or you could read it, because these are the pretty much the same things that we have already studied in our this pre-scene. Those things have just been segregated in under different headings. So Mohit, is it okay if I leave it to you?
Gee, sir, it's fine. We'll read
This is
it.
not complicated. Yeah, this is simple. So you could read it your own self. The only this will help you to look at the things, from the perspective of the value chain analysis. However, there is no complex information given in any under any heading. This is the information that you already know, and as you know that under these headings, I have read it, and you know that this is the same information that you have already studied in your pre-scene. Okay, now this is the extract from the financial information. These are this is the consolidated profit and loss statement. Then here, that the cost revenues and the cost of revenue, gross profit. Then these are now the overheads, administrative expenses, selling and other. Then the finance cost is negligible. The profit are really so good. Um, then it must be, it is not okay, 11,858. Okay, so taxation, you could know it, how much taxes are being charged. So dividends are being paid here, right? Again, 42,000. The most of the money which is being earned is being paid in being paid to the shareholders. You could see the dividends and the profits. So they are not keeping a lot of cash in their company. So now the non-current assets, this balance sheet. Again, it is not a very capital-intensive a business. So you would see that even their revenues are more than their total assets, 3 times more than. So the assets are being used so effectively. The assets of 30 million are producing a revenue of 100 million. A good utilization of assets. Property, plant, and equipment is a small portion. That is like their head office building is actually the asset which is the most expensive asset. Intangible assets, they might be having some softwares and all that. Then receivables are not so high. If we look at the revenue, with the revenue of 98 million, this is the 1% of your total sales, which is in receivables. So we have been told that most of the time Trayyner would be getting the fee in advance. So again, the equity financed primarily. Borrowings are negligible non-current liabilities, so company is not leveraged. The tax is the current liability, and tax, trade payables and tax that would be paid that every that we would be making your tax provision. Tax would become payable and you would be paying it in the next period, so that is also nice. So company is in a good shape, like as far as the finances are concerned. So the same information has been given. Competitors are of almost the same size with the similar amount of revenue and the asset base. So here
What about the cash flow? Does they have very low level of cash? 358.
in the current assets would actually be telling us because this is not a capital intensive business, and it has been that from this point, this is a good point, by the way. That will give me an opportunity to relate it with the that we have been given the information that most of the time the trainer would be getting the fee in advance. So why you need the cash to run your operations? Otherwise you don't need a capital investment because you are in a service industry. Now with your current business model where you don't have any, when you need the working capital requirement increases. One major factor is the credit sales. If you are over trading and selling on credit, then your requirement of the cash would increase, because in order to produce the next services or the products, you will have to have the requirement of the cash. So here we have been told that because we are getting the revenues in advance, so even with this that this kind of a cash flow, we would be okay, right? So you could relate it with that point with of the case study, where we have been told that we would be receiving the fee in advance, and then you will also relate it with that, because this is not a cash intensive active. Most of the time your requirement is operating cost, because you know that 87% of your cost is operating cost. Operating cost is again that cost which you will be just paying when it would be incurred. So you might, your trade payables are also not so high. So your trade payables and your trade receivables are like almost similar. There is a small difference. Even your payables are more, which payable, having a more payable means that improved cash flow. Here are certain ratios. You could read it. High gross margins, high operating profit margins, ROC is high, ROI, ROE, gearing is good. Everything financially, everything looks great. But here, like most of cash is being paid out as a dividend, because now like in a situation you have where you have been told that you are going to change the business model and you are going for probably the digital solutions, then you might have an investment. So at that point you might relate it to this like a dividend thing, that the company would not be having the internal resources to finance. But the financing, writing about the financing and the related issues is a topic which is covered in the strategic level. So here at your level, they won't be asking you for such a question. So you could read all these. You don't need to memorize them, but generally you should have an idea that how is the financial health of the company. And this information also tell us that Trayyner is kind of is similar to its competitors. So news report, Northland Business Daily, parastatal in transition. So Mohit, please read it quickly for us.
Okay. Parastatals are essentially companies that are owned by a government, but that are managed by a board of directors. Many recently developed countries use this structure to utilities such as electricity, gas, and telecommunications. The board are held accountable to the government in a similar manner to the accountability of any company's board to its shareholders. The only real difference is that parastatals generally have more complicated purposes. While they may be expected to operate at a profit, they are also expected to operate in the national interest. That could mean that they must cap prices in order to ensure that the needs of domestic and commercial customers are met. The roles of parastatals are changing in many countries with a greater emphasis on creating profit and maximizing wealth. Nancy Chitera, chair of the Eastland Telecommunication Corporation, described this change when she announced that a substantial loan had been raised in order to finance the installation of new optical cable links across the country. She stated that this project has been evaluated primarily on a commercial basis and that Eastland's Minister of Telecommunication was looking forward to increased dividends once the project has been completed.
Okay, that this whole story tell us that one of the major client of your company, one of the major clients of your company are the parastatal companies. So those parastatals are actually also shifting their focus. They are being more concerned about their cost structure. That normally these government organizations are not too much concerned about the profitability. So as the concern about the profitability of these organizations are increasing, it would also be having an impact on their cost structure. So they might be getting more conscious about the cost, and paying the trainer for the executive training of these parastatal is one of the costs. So that cost is a kind of a cost which might be raising an eyebrows. People might say that the board of directors members are flying on in the business class, going to a 5-star hotel for a training on the using the public money. That's not fair, and this could have an detrimental effect on your business, on your current business model. So general public interest, the companies operate not only for profit but for the public interest as well. So here the opinion of the public would be too important. But being a training company, your concern would be limited to to their training budget. Prices might be controlled. However, focus of the parastatal shifting toward profit generation. So that's how it links to your company, because that when they are moving and current they are focusing more on the profit generation, they would be reducing the cost heads. And that in any company, the training cost probably is the easiest head which could be curtailed, and the first head which the management would be decide to reduce whenever the hard times, there would be hard times, right? Okay, let's take a break, and we then will continue after the break.